All right, fourth grade. Today's math lesson, our learning target today is I will solve for unknowns in addition and subtraction equations. Our success criteria today is I can solve for an unknown by counting on or back using a number line. So we're continuing on from yesterday's lesson using that number line in order to find an unknown using addition and subtraction. Okay. All right, so let's go and start by asking the question. Something kind of like this. 4 plus something is going to equal 9. What might that something be? Yeah, 5. We know that 4 plus 5 would give you 9, right? All right, so I'm going to keep that up there, but then I'm going to give you now a fraction. All right, same kind of strategy, okay? Now we're just working with fractions. 4/12 plus what fraction would give you 9/12? 5/12. Okay, pretty similar to what we did up front with just our regular whole number addition problem. We know that 4 plus 5 gives you 9. Okay, you know that 4/12 plus 5/12 will give you 9/12. Okay, anytime we have a denominator here, and this is the information that we did have, these two are the same, so that means whatever this number is, it's going to also have the denominator of 12 as well, okay? So that the only thing that we're doing is looking for something to add plus 4 to give us our total of 9. Okay, so let's try that one more time. No whole numbers, just fractions. All right, so 3/8 plus something is going to give you 8/8. What do you think that fraction is going to be? All right, so the first question you need to ask yourself is, am I going to have the same number as my denominator? Yes, it's going to be an 8, right? So now I need to ask myself, what am I going to add plus 3 to get me a total of 8? So 3 plus something is going to equal 8. What is that something going to be? 5. Just checking that work. 3 plus 5 is 8. Another way to check your work is to do that addition problem, but in a different order. So we use from left to right. Let's go from right to left. 5 plus 3, does it still equal 8? Yes. Okay. All right, so today we're going to use this same concept, finding an unknown number, but we're also going to use our number line in order to do that. So now I'm going to go ahead and write down a number line. We're going to go and stick with our 8s. I'm going to go ahead and continue what we have done in our number line and always start with 2 whole numbers. Because we're still working with fractions, it's less than 1 whole. So I know that my 2 whole numbers are going to be 0 and 1. If you have a mixed number or a number greater than 1, it's going to be between the numbers 1 and 2, or whatever number that it is past, okay? But if it's just a fraction, you're going to be between the 2 whole numbers 0 and 1. All right, so I'm going to go ahead because I'm working with my 8s, and if the problem is 3/8 plus something will give me, I'll stick with that same one, okay? Will give me 8/8. First thing I want to do is to go ahead and partition. Remember, denominator is 8, so how many partitions am I going to have? Always 1 less than our denominator. 8 minus 1 is 7. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make 7 lines. The reason I'm making 7 is because starting from our 0 line, if I make 7, this whole number would make it 1 whole, which would be 8/8. Okay, So I'm going to do that invisible line thingy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pretty close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, that's pretty good. All right. So now I'm just going to put in where my fractions are. So I know that this is 8/8. I can work backwards, I can work forwards, and then just check my work. Okay. So I have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, and 7/8. Okay, remember that anytime you have an even number, look to see if you can find what is half of that even number as a denominator. And that's 4. So this just tells you that 4/8 should be half of your number line. It should look like it's somewhere pretty close to where the middle part of your number line is. So it's pretty good. This space is equal to about this space, okay? All right. So now that we're doing this, we're going to go ahead and start, and you can plot it if you'd like. You can do it this way. Or what you really could have done is just not written down the 1/8 and 2/8 and just working with the numbers that you do have. But I like to plot all of my, or I like to put all of my fractions on there just so I just have that good habit. Okay, so here's my 3/8, and I want to get to 8/8, and I know that 8/8 is the same as 1 whole. So I'm just gonna plot it there so that I know where I'm starting and where I'm ending and how many I'm tracking. Okay, so if I start here, I'm just going to count my jumps, and that tells me how many jumps I'd have to take before I get to my total destination, which is 8/8. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 jumps out of 8 jumps tells me I would get to my, again, final destination, which is 8/8. So 3/8 plus 5/8 is 8/8. And this is how you represent it on a number line. Okay. All right, so I'm going to give you a problem that I want you to work on, but we're going to do one more problem, and it's not going to be 8s this time. Let me just clear the board. All right, so we're going to do the problem. Oh, how about we start with our number line? All right, so we're going to have the problem 1 minus something to give me 2/3. All right, so the largest number here is 1, and the smallest number here is 2/3. Is my number here in the middle going to be larger or less than 1? Less, okay, because we're subtracting. So because of that, I know what my 2 whole numbers are going to have to be, 0 and 1. Because if 1 is the greatest number that I'm working with in my equation, it's going to be the closest to the right, the furthest to the right, okay? And because 1 is the greatest, it's furthest to the right. All right? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and plot my points. But how many parts am I going to have to get to my whole? So what is my fraction going to read if it were 1 whole? Does this tell me anything? No, this is my point right here. Does this tell me anything here? No, I don't know what it is yet. Does this tell me anything here? Yes, it tells me the denominator of 3 tells me how many parts are going to be in my whole. So if I know 3 is my denominator, what would be my whole? How would I represent thirds as a whole? Something over 3. Remember, numerator, denominator, same number would equal 1 whole. Okay? So that also tells me how many partitions I'm going to make. So if I have 3 as my denominator, how many partitions, lines on my number line am I going to make? Partition is always 1 less than our denominator. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So how many lines am I going to make on my number line? 2. All right. So between 0 and 1, I'm going to make 2 even as I can lines. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, again, the reason why I'm making 2 partitions is 1, 2. On my third, which is already there, it would equal 1 whole, which is also equivalent to 3/3. Okay? All right, so because this is now working on subtraction, we're going to start with our whole number, our greatest number here. Okay? And you can put in the points of the fractions. Pretty smart to do, so you can see that really quickly. Okay? And if I take my 1 and I need to get to my 2/3, me just plotting them just lets me know where I need to start here and where I'm going to here. So again, this number is going to be the number of jumps. Okay, so going from 1 whole to 2/3, very crooked, but that's okay. How many jumps? Yeah, it's 1, but again, looking at that fraction, 1/3. So 1 minus 1/3 equals 2/3. Okay, I know this is new, but it's very doable because you guys are experts at number line, partitions, plotting, subtracting, adding. Now you're just putting it all together. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and erase the board. You can pause at any moment. You need to look back at anything, but I'm going to give you 2 problems to see if you can work on. Okay, so the first problem I'm going to give you, again, if you can work on this, turn it in Google Docs, or just take a picture and send me an email, put it on Google Docs. Okay, so there are a couple different ways that you can show your work, and we can talk about that more, I think, tomorrow. All right, first one, subtraction, is going to be 1 minus something, okay, equals 5/6. Second problem I want you to work on is going to be an addition problem. Let's go backwards. Blank plus 3/5 equals 7/5. I know some of you are already doing that really quick mental math there, but now I want you to see if you can, again, using a number line, count on or back, okay, to figure out what the unknown is. I know that some of you are doing that very quick mental math, but I want you to show and prove your thinking using a number line. Okay? If you're having trouble with the number line, show me a picture or explain in words how you got there. But ultimately, I want you to simply try to work that number line. Okay? So first problem is subtraction, second problem is addition. Do your best, try, make an effort, and good luck. If you have questions, you know what to do. Otherwise, go for it.